Welcome students to online classes of mathematics for class 9. In this video we are going to study chapter number 14, which is statistics of NCERT textbook, and we will be looking at the exercise 14.2. We'll try to do first few questions of this exercise as therefore I have written it as part 1. Okay, this one is session number 2 for this particular chapter. Myself Deepak Gautam, DGT Mathematics in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. So let's start with today's class. The chapter number 14 statistics is divided into total 5 subtopics, out of which we have already covered the first 2 subtopics in the previous session. Okay, so in this session we'll be looking at the third one, which is presentation of the data. Okay, so let's start part 3, which is presentation of data. In presentation of data, first you have to understand few terminology. Okay, so the first one we have is raw data. Raw data is the data in its actual form as it is collected is called raw data. Okay, so whenever we gather some information, okay, and we note down it as it is, okay, in that information, that is the primary information that we get, or the data that we get, is called the raw data. Okay, because we have not organized that data, we are just noting it down one by one. Okay, so simply the data in its actual form as it is collected is called raw data. Okay, for example, you can see, consider the marks obtained by 10 students in a mathematics test as given below. So there are 10 students who have appeared in the mathematics test and their marks is given below. So they have got 55, 36, 95, 73, 60, 42, 25, 78, 75 and 62. Okay, now you can see there is no particular order in this data. Okay, we have 55, then it's going down to 36, then it's going up to 95, then again going down, and then again going down, and so on. Okay, so there is no particular order between the data. Okay, we have just arranged them randomly, or you can say as it is we have received. Okay, so what we do now is we arrange this data either in increasing order or decreasing order. Okay, so that this can be understood easily. Okay, so this is when the data is arranged in ascending means increasing order, or descending means decreasing order. Okay, then it is called the organized data. Okay, so what we did here is we have arranged this same data in increasing order. Okay, so from here the lowest marks is 25, then we have 36, 42, 55, 60, 62, 73, 75, 78 and 95. Okay, so now this data is arranged in the increasing order. Now this data will be referred as the organized data. Okay, we have done the organization of this data, like we have written that this data in increasing order. Okay, why we are doing this? It will help us to draw some conclusion. Okay, like from here, if I ask you what is the lowest number, that means you have to go through all the data to find out that this 25 is the lowest number. Okay, similarly, if I ask you what is the highest number, so again you have to go through all this data to find out that this 95 is the highest number. Okay, but when the data is organized, you can simply find out the lowest and the highest number. That lowest will be at the left hand and the highest will be at the right hand. Okay, if arranged in increasing order. Okay, or it will be vice versa if they are arranged in decreasing order. Okay, I hope you understood the difference between the raw data and the organized data. Raw data is when we note the information in its actual form, that time it's called raw data, and when we rearrange it, then it will be called organized data. Okay, next is, see this example number 2 from your textbook. It says, consider the marks obtained out of 100 by 30 students of a class 9. Okay, so these are the marks given, marks of the 30 student, which is out of 100 is given below. Okay, so one student got 10, 20, 36, 92, 95, 40 and so on. So marks of all the 30 students is given here. So what we have to do is we can instead of writing this now in increasing or decreasing order, because if we write this in increasing or decreasing order, that means we have to, the span of data will be very large. Okay, we'll be continuing going on for 3-4 lines if I write them in increasing or decreasing order. Okay, so in order to resolve this problem, what we do is we write this data in tabular form. Okay, so like you can see, we have made a table here. Okay, so in first column we are writing the marks, and second we are writing the number of students, those who got that particular marks. Okay, and this is called the frequency. Okay, this is called the frequency. So what we have is the lowest number in this, or the lowest score here is this number 10. So we write lowest is 10, then we see how many students have got the 10. So after looking at the data, you will find out that 10 has appeared only one time, so in front of 10 we'll write 1. Okay, then you have to see the next number after 10. We have 20. Okay, so then see how many times the 20 has appeared. You again see that 20 has appeared only one time, so we'll write in front of 20 only 1. Okay, then next higher number is after 20 we have 36. Okay, let's see how many times 36 has appeared. We have one time 36 here, one time here, and one time here. Okay, so total 3 times 36 have appeared, so write 36 here, in front of it write 3, and so on for the other number. Like 40 has appeared 4 times, which is here, one time here, then we have 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times. So 40 has appeared 4 times, so we have in front of 40 write 4, and so on for the all the other marks. So this type of representation is called frequency distribution table. Okay, so we have written the frequency of each mark, so this table will be referred as frequency distribution table. So whenever you are given certain data and asked to represent it in the form of frequency distribution table, so you will write this table making 2 columns. In first you will write the marks, or whichever the information given there, and then in second column you will write the frequency of that one. Okay, so this is that's how we represent data in frequency distribution table. This can be done with a medium sized data. Okay, next is we have now example number 3. Says 100 plants each were planted in 100 schools during one Mahotsava. After 1 month, the number of plants that survived were recorded. So in 100 school, 100 plants were planted in each school. Okay, so that means total plants planted is 100 into 100, that is 10,000 during a festival which is called one Mahotsava. So during this festival, in 100 schools were selected, and each school 100 plants were planted. Okay, so after 1 month, the data is recorded, which is of the number of plants that survives. Okay, so after 1 month, the team from one Mahotsava goes to visit every school to note down how many plants out of those 100 have survived. Okay, and that information is given here. Now you can see the size of this data is very large. Okay, earlier we have only 30, so we were able to represent this with the help of frequency distribution table. Okay, now the size of data is 100, as there are 100 schools. Okay, so if we represent this data in this table, so table will go on and on will do so many rows. Okay, so to avoid this problem, what we do is we start making the intervals or groups of this information. Okay, like this. What we did here is we look for the lowest number in here. So if you look at the data closely, you will find that this 23 is the lowest number in this one. Okay, there is no number less than 23. Okay, so we decided our first group or the interval should be 20 to 29. Okay, now we'll count all the schools in which the number of plants survive is 20 to 29. Okay, so we have this 23, we have another this 28. Okay, let's check for the another one. We have this 27. Okay, there is no else data between 20 to 29, so we'll write in front of this 20 29 this 3 straight line 1 2 3, and then here its frequency will write 3. This is called its telemark. Okay, here we have number of plant which is given in the intervals 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and so on till 90 to 99. Okay, then we mark the telemarks for each, and then we write their corresponding frequency. Okay, like 30 to 39, here we have 14 plants, so write 1 2 3 4, then fifth is cutting the other 3. Okay, like this, so write 1 2 3 4, then fifth one is cutting the previous 4. Okay, so we have this 5 and the 4, that is 14. Similarly for 40 to 49 we got 12, so write 12 and so on. Okay, so after writing this, once you add all this information, you should get the original number of or the size of data. Okay, this is 100, as the school we have is 100. Okay, this should match. If they are same, then that means your representation is correct. Okay, so this type of representation is called group frequency distribution table. Okay, group frequency distribution table. Okay, earlier it was frequency distribution table because it does not have any group. Once we include the intervals here, so it will be called group frequency distribution table. Okay, so if you are given a data uh, which is very large, okay, in that case you can use the group frequency distribution table to represent the data. Okay, now you have to include one extra column, which is the telemar. Okay, now moving to the next one. Next is example number 4, which is very important. Example number 4 is, let us now consider the following frequency distribution table, which gives the weight of 38 student as of a class. Okay, so this table is given to you in the question itself, which is giving the weight of 38 student. Okay, that means once you add all this, you should get 38. Okay, now we have 31 to 35, there are 9 student, 36 to 45 student, 41 to 45, 14 student, and so on till 71 to 75, there is only one student. There is no student who is motivated more than 75. Okay, so we stop there. So the lowest number we have taken is, that means interval we have taken is 31 to 35. Okay, and it has 9 student in between, and the highest weight category is 71 to 75. There is only one student in this category. Okay, so this is a question that is which gives the weight of 30 students. Okay, which we have represented through the table, taking the intervals 31 to 35, so 36 to 40, and so on. Okay, now the problem arises here is that, what if a student whose weight is exactly 40.4, okay, that means it's more than 40 and less than 41. The interval that we have here is, it has 40, and here we have next interval starting from 41. Okay, now as this weight is between 40 and 41, so if we include here, this means this interval is ending at like 40, that means does not include any number more than 40, and this one is starting from 41. Okay, that means it does not include any number which is less than 41. Okay, that means we don't have any place to include this number, that is 40.44. Okay, so or also if we have a number like say 40.6 also, we cannot find the place to include this in any of the interval. Okay, like this ends at the 40 and this one is starting at the 41, and these two numbers are lying between 40 and 41. Okay, now this problem is resolved by using one method here, which is, what we do here is, we'll make the intervals continue. As you can see these intervals are not continue. Okay, because they are breaking at one number, which is like in say 35, and starting from the next number. Okay, there is no continuity between the intervals. Okay, so they are breaking at a number and then starting from the another number, so there is a gap between those two numbers. Like in 30 to 36 we have gap, 40 to 41 we have gap, and to bridge that gap, what we do is we make the interval continue. Now in order to do that, what we do is, we'll choose any two continuous interval, like say these two. Okay, 46 to 450 and 51 to 55. Okay, in this interval we'll take the lower limit of the higher interval and upper limit of the previous interval. So we have this 51, which is the lower limit of this interval, and we'll take this 50, which is the upper limit of the previous interval. So this 51 minus 50 will give us 1, and we divide this always by 2. Okay, so every time you have to divide this by 2. Find the difference of these two number. In any case, you can also choose 60, 61, you can also choose 65 and 66. Okay, we are taking 51 and 50, so difference of the two is 1. Difference of these two is 1. We divide this by 2, so we'll get the result as 0.5. Now what we are going to do is, we will add the 0.5 to all the numbers, all the upper limits, and we'll subtract the 0.5 in all the lower limits. Okay, that means if you add 0.5 here, so this will become 35.5. okay, and we subtract the 0.5 here, so this will become 30.5. similarly, we'll add the 0.5 here, so this will become 40.5, and this will become 35.5. okay, in doing so you'll get a table like this: 35 30.5 to 35.5, 35.5 to 40.5, 40.5 to 45.5, and so on. Now you can see this interval is ending at 55.5 and this one is starting exactly from 55.5. that means these intervals are now continuous interval. Okay, there is no breakage now. It is ending at number and starting from exactly that number. Okay, now in this continuous interval there is another problem arises. Okay, earlier like we have the two number 40.4 and second was 40.6. now you can clearly say that this 40.4 is lying in this interval. Okay, this is will be here for, as it is included till 40.5, so this is less than 40.5, so this will be in second interval, while this 40.6 will be in the third one because it's starting after 40.5. now the problem is, what if we have a number exactly 40.5? now you can see we have 40.5 here also and here also. Okay, so in both we have 40.5, but we can't include the one number in two intervals. Okay, so now in order to resolve this problem, what we do is we always include the number in the higher interval. Okay, so that means this will also be included in this one. Okay, not here. Okay, so this 40.5 will be included in 40.5 to 45.5. okay, that means in higher interval, not the lower one. so this is the lower one which is starting from 35 to 40.5. will not include this 40.5 in this one, will include this in the next one, which is 40 to 40.5 to 45.5. okay, I have I think I hope you have understood the concepts what we have did here. First we understood what is the raw data, then we have organized that data. Okay, this can be done for the small size of data. Okay, if the data is slightly bigger, then we can use this frequency distribution table. Okay, and when the data is very large, in that case we use grouped frequency distribution table. Okay, and sometime in some cases you find that making the interval which are not continuous may create a problem. Okay, that problem is resolved by making the interval continuous interval. Okay, in that case we have another issue, that means in which interval this 40.5 should be included. so this will be included in the next higher interval. Okay, so this always be in the next one. Okay, 40.5 to 45.5. okay, now based on this we have exercise 14.2. let's move to the exercise 14.2 now. The question number 1 here is, the blood group of 30 students of class 8 are recorded as follows. Okay, we have recorded the blood groups of 30 students of a class, which is given as A, B, O, A, B, O, A, O, B, and so on till here. Okay, you are asked to represent this data in the form of a frequency distribution table. so okay, we have to write this in the form of frequency distribution table. that means we will not mark the tally marks here, we will not make the any interval here. Okay, so then we have to answer which is the most common and which is the most rarest blood group among these students. Okay, so let's first draw its frequency distribution table. so that's our table. We have in the column we have written first column the blood group, that is we have A, O, B, and OB, and then we have write their frequency. Okay, the number of students. so like there are 9 students having blood group A, B, 6 students having blood group B, and 12 students having O, and only 3 having AB. Okay, so that's how you can represent this in the form of frequency distribution table. now you are asked two questions, which is the most common, which is the most common, that is the which occurs the most. Okay, so as you can see the frequency of blood group O is highest, that means the most common blood group is O. Okay, the most common blood group is O. Next, you are asked which is the rarest blood group among these. Rarest means which appears only very less. Okay, that means which is 3, and it is for blood group AB. Okay, and we'll write and the least common blood group is AB. Okay, so that's the answer of the question number 1. Now moving to the next question. Question number 2 is the distance in kilometer of 40 engineers from their residence to their place of work were found as follows. Okay, that's the distance between their residence and the workplace, that means from home to their office. Okay, which is in kilometer, and it is given for 40 engineers. Okay, now you can see the size of data is slightly bigger. So what we are asked to do here is the construct a group frequency distribution table. That means we have to construct only group frequency distribution table. That means we will include the intervals now. Okay, and also the telemark. It also says with class size 5 and the data given about taking the first interval as 0 to 5. Okay, and 5 not included. That means it's again saying 5 will be included in the next one. So we have to represent this data using grouped frequency distribution table. Also the class size and the first interval is given, that is 0 to 5. Then you have to answer what main feature do you observe from this tabular representation. Okay, so let's try its answer number 2. First we're going to draw its table. Okay, let's draw its table now. So that's our frequency distribution table for this one. Okay, like it says in the question, start with the interval 0 to 5 and keep in the class width as 5. Okay, so we have made the interval from 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30, and 30 to 35, as the highest number that we have is only 32. Okay, so there is no number which is more than 35, so we stop there. Okay, now we have counted the number between 0 to 5. As I told you, if we have number 5, that will not be included here, the 5 will be included in the next interval. Okay, so 0 to 5 we found only 3 person. Okay, like we have this 3 kilometer, then we have this 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer, this 2 kilometer, and 3 kilometer. That means there are total 5 people living at the distance of 0 to 5 kilometer. Okay, and so on we write it for the other distances. Okay, as you can see, the sum of this again 40. That means our information might be correct. Okay, now based on this we are asked what main feature do you observe from this tabular representation. Okay, so we have this table. We are asked what is the main feature observed is the most of the engineers lives in these 4 categories. That means between 0 to 20 kilometer. Okay, so we can say the most number of engineer, the most number of engineers lives at a distance of 0 to 20 kilometer. Okay, at a distance of 0 to 20 kilometer from their office. Okay, so most of the student lives between 0 to 20 kilometer of their office. Okay, so that's the answer for the question number 2. Now moving to the third question, we have the relative humidity in percentage of a certain city for a month of 30 days was as follows, as it is given here. Okay, this is humidity rate 98.5, 98.6, 99.2, 90.3, and so on till this 89. Okay, we are asked to do 3 things here. First is construct the group frequency distribution table. Again, you are asked to particularly represent this data by group frequency distribution table. That means you have to make the intervals here and the telemarks. Okay, and we are also given the group should be 84 to 86, 86 to 88, and so on. Okay, then we are asked which month or season do you think this data is about. Okay, and then what is the range of the data. Okay, I will tell you how to calculate the range also. Okay, so let's first draw its grouped frequency distribution table. Okay, so that's our group frequency distribution table for this given data. We have made the interval from 86 to 84 to 86, 86 to 88, 88 to 90, 90 to 92, and so on till 98 to 100. Okay, now we'll look at this data and divide them into their corresponding intervals. Okay, like this 98.1 will comes under this interval. Okay, then we have this 98.6 will also come in this one. Okay, so you will be doing that tally mark here. So for first one we have 98.1, so you will mark the tally marks like here 1. Okay, next one is we have 98.2, so we will mark tally mark also here. Okay, third is 99.2 will also be in this interval, so we have first three in this same interval. Next we have 90.3, 90.3 will come here, so we got one tally mark here. Next is 86.5, 86.5 will come in this interval. You have to keep on going this. Okay, in the end once you reach here, okay, you will get the tally marks here, then write those number in the form of frequency here. Okay, which I have done it already for you, and add all this, you will get it equals to 30, which is the actual number of data we have, 30. Okay, so that's the answer for the part 1 of question number 3, which is we are asked to construct a grouped frequency distribution table. Okay, next is which month or the season do you think this data is about. Okay, so maximum humidities is between 92 to 100. Okay, so in this data you can see as the humidity is remaining slightly higher as most of the day. Okay, so this can be the month of any rainy season. Okay, so the answer for this one is second part is that the data appeared to be of rainy season. Okay, third one is what is the range of the data. Okay, let's first understand what is range. Range of any data is given by the difference between the highest value minus lowest value. Okay, so range for this data is highest value here is we have, let's look at the data. The highest value we have is 99.2, this one, and look for the lowest value. Okay, that should be in 80s. Okay, this we have 84.9. okay, so that means highest value here is 99.2 and the lowest is 84.9, and the difference of the two is 14.3. so that's the range of this data. That means this data is spread in between this range. Okay, the difference between the highest and the lowest value is 14.3. that is called the range of this given data. Okay, so we have completed the first 3 questions of the exercise 14.2. okay, so we'll be covering the remaining question in the next session. Okay, so that's all for now. Thanks for joining here everyone. Thank you.